Hello, everyone. My name is Zheng, and I am from Carnegie Mellon University. Today, I'm excited to share our work titled Together But Alone, Atomization and Peer Support Among Gig Workers. In one sentence, this paper explores how gig workers, such as rideshare drivers, delivery workers, and handymen exchange peer support using online communities. This work is done together with Silas Weden, Leah Emerlyn, Haiyi, and Bob Kraut. So this picture shows Uber drivers lining up to pick up passengers at an airport. As you can see, drivers typically stay in their own vehicles, meaning that they usually do not share the same physical workspace with other drivers. They are isolated. This isolation or atomization has three levels. First, as we have mentioned, workers are rarely in the same physical space with each other. Second, workers don't have human bosses, and their interaction with the gig platforms is almost exclusively on the app. And finally, the gig platform provides very few opportunities for workers to connect with each other on the apps. That is to say, if the workers were to connect with each other at all, they need to find some other channels themselves. Online peer support groups could, therefore, become a potential promising solution to combat such isolation. As we all know, virtual space allow workers to overcome temporal and geographical restrictions, and thus allow them to gather together with much more ease. Below, I show two screenshots of online peer support groups for gig workers. The first one is a private regional Facebook group dedicated to rideshare drivers in the Pittsburgh area, and the second is a public nationwide subreddit for Uber drivers. In this study, we asked the following research question. How do gig workers exchange peer support in online spaces, such as Facebook groups and Reddit? In this study, to answer these research questions, we used semi-structured interviews to understand gig workers' social support exchange activities. We sampled 20 physical gig workers. By saying physical gig workers, we mean those who need to physically be with clients to do their job. Among them, 10 of them are delivery people, which means that they work for delivery platforms such as Instacart, DoorDash, and Uber Eats. 2 are rideshare drivers. 5 are handyman type workers who work for TaskRabbit. And there are 3 of them who do more than one type of gig work at the same time. And the execution of this study is heavily affected by the still ongoing pandemic. In February of last year, we did 3 in-person interviews. In April, we did 4 additional pilots to see how the pandemic has affected gig workers' lives. And in July, we finally kicked off the data collection process of the interviews. We ended up using COVID-19 as a probe to understand what types of support was provided to the workers and how they used the support to cope with this challenge. In addition to interview with 20 gig workers, we also conducted content analysis with data collected from online support groups for gig workers. First, we collected a total of 1,494 posts from 8 relevant Facebook groups dedicated to rideshare drivers. We also collected 162 posts from relevant subreddits and 170 comments from strike-related posts to explore how workers' reactions are when they are talking about strikes. Both the interview transcripts and the posts of peer support groups were analyzed using semantic analysis techniques. Now let me present to you the findings of this study. So based on our content analysis, gig workers view these online support groups as information hubs. As you could tell on the table here, most of their activities are centered around seeking information and providing information. Among the exchange of information support, seeking solution and seeking experiences are 2 major categories that stand out. So let's take a closer look at these 2 categories. So as you can tell on the left, Seeking solution is when a worker is asking for solutions to specific issues that they face. So for example, here the worker was wondering whether or not it is possible to drive for Uber or Lyft in New York City with a Seattle plate. Seeking experience, as you could tell on the right-hand side of the screen, means to ask for similar experiences from other workers, and it's often for the validation purpose of their own experiences. So for instance, here the worker is trying to confirm whether or not other workers also experience difficulties in instant pay cashing outs, because that's an experience that they experience themselves. Interviewees reported that they found the concrete and experiential knowledge provided by other workers as the most beneficial from these groups. This is precisely the key benefit of peer support. For example, participant number 12 described her experience of encountering the issue of mismatch between item description and item photo when she was shopping for Instacart. She used the strategy that she learned from a Facebook post and was able to resolve the issue herself. However, we also found that the fear of competition prevents workers from sharing information in peer support groups. Unlike health support groups, where members do not have conflicts of interest, gig workers are in a highly competitive market. The algorithm also decided that the more workers there are, the lower rates worker would receive. Because workers felt that they were competitors with each other, interviewees expressed that they were unwilling to disclose valuable competitive information that could potentially boost others' business in these groups. For example, participant number 13 compared nationwide Reddit with regional Facebook groups. And then they described that people on Facebook might not want to share lots of information as they fear, the group members of this group is competing with themselves. In addition, the fear of competition also drives workers away from providing emotional support. Because of the competition between the workers, it decreased their chances of becoming friends with each other. The competition could impede the building of trust and understanding among the workers. As participant number 20 mentioned, he would not be interested in making friends with another gig worker, for he felt like the other workers are taking money from his own pocket. For collective activities such as strike, both of our content analysis and our interview mentioned that they were not positive about the success of these strikes because they feared that the gig platforms could keep recruiting new workers. As this Reddit comment argued, the commenter believed that going for a strike would only hurt their own benefit. Again, the fear of competition and the fear of influx of new workers would prevent workers from participating in collective actions. So to sum up, this study leveraged interview with 20 gig workers, including rideshare drivers, delivery workers, and handymen, and content analysis of nearly 1,500 online posts to understand how gig workers exchange informational and emotional support in online social media groups. The highlight findings include, first, the workers view online peer support groups as information hubs, and they particularly value the concrete and the experiential knowledge shared by others. However, the fear of competition prevents workers from sharing information and prevents them from providing emotional support as well. We found that public social media groups such as Reddit and Facebook groups are not the most ideal place for organizing collective actions for workers. If you want to find out more about our work, especially the implications and design recommendations, feel free to check out our paper. Thank you for listening.